Hey guys, it's Natalia and welcome back to another episode of Fashion Design 101. So for today's episode, I thought it would be good to show you guys how to sew a dart because I feel like that's a very basic thing within sewing and something that you should know how to do and do properly. So without further ado, let's get into this quick little tutorial. So I went ahead and cut out a piece of muslin and drew out a couple of darts just to kind of give you guys an idea. So this one is a shorter one and this one is a longer one. And we're gonna be sewing them all the way up to this little point. I'm gonna do it twice so you guys can see it properly, but yeah, let's get to it. So I'm gonna take my dart and I'm going to go ahead and fold it and pin it. So you wanna line up this line with the line on the other side and make sure they are perfectly aligned. So I'm gonna go ahead and pin that right there, making sure those two sides are lined up. And you wanna do that all the way down to the bottom. So again, line up this with the line on the back up until you reach the little point of the dart, which you also just want to put a pin right there just so you know where to stop. So it should look something like this if you have it perfectly folded on like the half point of the dart. You can also just draw a line at the half point if you want to know exactly where to fold it, or you can just try to line up the two sides, whatever is easiest for you. But this is what it should look like. So we're gonna start sewing on this bigger end. So we're gonna go ahead and backstitch here, sew all the way down, and then at the end of it, you're not gonna backstitch, but I'll show you what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna go ahead and backstitch here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and sew on the line of the dart. I'm gonna bring you guys closer for this little end part. So you're gonna want to sew and sew basically until you get to the very, very edge of this. You want it to basically be off the edge. So I'm going to do some slow stitches until it slowly comes to the edge. And then once you reach the point, you basically want to be off of the actual fabric itself. So I'm gonna do one stitch, and as you can see, now I'm off of the fabric. I'm going to go ahead and leave a semi-long thread, and then I'm going to cut it there. So it should look something like this with your ends hanging out here because we did not backstitch. But what you're gonna do is knot this end to finish off the seam and make sure it doesn't come undone. So there's no right or wrong way to really knot this, but I like to personally just do like 3 knots or so and just tie it off just to make sure that it's extra secure and it won't come undone. Even do a 4th one just in case. And then you can go ahead and cut off the excess. So it should look something like this, and if you open it up, you now have a dart that goes into a perfect point but does not turn out pointy. And you can go ahead and actually press this down, so iron it down to make it look even cleaner. So we're gonna go ahead and do that after we sew the second dart, just so you guys can get a feel of what it looks like when you have 2 darts like that in like a bodice kind of setting. So let's sew the other one. So I'm gonna go ahead and backstitch here. Sew all the way down. And then go a little bit slowly at the end to make sure it properly comes off of it. And then leave a long thread here so that we can go ahead and tie this off. Now we can cut off the excess, and we now have both of our darts here and here to go ahead and press. So let's go ahead and do that. So usually a dart gets added to add fullness or to curve around the body, so it creates a bit of a curve. As you can see, this doesn't lay flat anymore because we have these 2 darts that kind of come into place. So if this were a bodice, essentially like this would be the bottom of it and here would be your chest, so that it would curve around it nicely. So it's really hard to iron down something that is curved sometimes because you kind of lose that. So if you have a pressing ham or something like this that you can kind of curve around, it makes it easier, but it definitely is possible without it, but just makes it a little bit more complicated to get it smooth. So I'm gonna go ahead and smooth the dart over to one side on this curve, and then you can go ahead and iron it down. And as you can see, that creates a really clean dart. And then I'm going to do the same to this one and go ahead and iron it down. And as you can see, the darts now lay very flat and you don't have a weird point here or anything. It's totally smooth transition into the fabric, which is exactly what you want. You don't want it to be super pointy here or anything. And as far as which way you press the darts, it kind of doesn't matter. If it's a side dart like this, you always press it down. But as far as the ones on the waist, I've heard people say you should press them towards the center. I've heard people say you should press it to the back. So kind of just your preference, but make sure it's the same on both sides. But yeah, that is how we sew darts. So that's it for today's video. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below what else you want to see, and subscribe for more if you're not already so you don't miss out on the next videos. If you want to follow my social media, everything's linked down below. My Instagram, TikTok, all the things. And also I do have a podcast if you want to listen to that. It's all about fashion and all the fun things. So I'll have that link down below. It's called Unfiltered Fashion Talks. And lastly, I also just launched a Patreon and would love for you guys to join in. We have a private Facebook group. We also have a private Instagram story. So that's really fun for you guys to see more behind the scenes of what I'm doing and all the things, and just more one-on-one help with either fashion design or business things, whatever you want. It's super fun, so feel free to check that out if you haven't already. And yeah, that is it. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!